A little update for you guys here. A little update here. So the stock turning lines did not work out. The factory lines leaked fluid all over. I think I mentioned that in my last video. So and also too, in order to even access the turning lines, I would have had to basically shift the whole motor forward, and then I would have had to drop the turning down, and it would have been too much work. I don't think my new fittings would have even cleared, so I just made a little access hole here, which isn't exactly, you know, probably the best, but I'm gonna put, you know, like a piece of plastic, or I'll put some sort of like a plate over that so that you know, no water can get in here. But I think that the tunnel would have actually hit this line right here because it's really close to the darn tunnel. So, and then this is my line right here. This is all on. It's just a dash 6 and fitting, or and line. Then I have a loom over it just so that it even has more protection of not being able to rub through and yeah, leak. So I'm gonna keep on working. I put a plastic bag because the train is so close to the tunnel. I was able to just put a plastic bag in there. Hopefully that can kind of hold back some water. I put tape over it also because I plan on having the ECU sit right there. And then I'm like, oh man, if only I had some sheet metal. And I'm like, oh yeah, I totally had some sheet metal from when I cut the trunk out. So this conveniently sits right here. Just kind of like so. It actually conforms quite nicely. So I'll do that, and I'll take away all this garbage that's blinding me. I don't see anything else in here. Oh, it's a piece of the metal. I could have stayed for like here. Go like this, and then we'll pull her back. Scarf it back. Oh yeah, I can't even tell it was even there. I mean, you can tell it was there, but you can't even tell I even cut a hole. Other than it's a little springy, but who cares? So I just ran the main power from the fuse box for this motor. I couldn't find a fuse that went on and off with the key here, so I just have ground, which, I mean, I'm sorry, this is a positive, and I have ground, which, yes, I use red wire in the ground. I just bought 100 feet of like 14 gauge wire that was just one color because it was, I don't know, I didn't feel like buying 2 rolls, so got that. And then I had to extend a ground up here that ended up tearing off, so this loom here is that ground wire comes through here, and then grounds out at a different ground down here, and then the same loom is the main trigger for the that powers the relay for the main the main power to the fuse box for the LS ECU, and that goes over to here to this spot on where the old harness was in the Mustang. I might do that later in life, like clean it up a little bit. Kind of has a lot of wires going on here. I try to loom everything I could just to kind of keep things clean, but I mean, it's kind of just how it has to be for, you know, for now. I guess I could, you know, I don't know. I'm not sure how I want to do the future. Knowing me, I'm probably just gonna leave it the way it is, honestly. As long as nothing, you know, gets too hot and everything. As long as the wires aren't melting and whatnot, which I have everything pulled away from the exhaust and try to keep it up off the motor, I think it'll be just fine. So, and one other thing too. So this is the old wiring from the Mustang for the alternator. Then this is like the main power wire that I'm assuming charges the battery. I just have the old the wiring harness with the alternator plug off the old LS harness. Then I have just the wire off the Mustang that goes to the fuse box that charges the battery. So I'm hoping that works. And then, yes, I don't have a belt tension or anything. I just have you know, I just measured the belt with a, you know, a string basically, and then pull it tight, and then, you know, measured that to make sure I got the right size belt. But it's a little tight, but I think once I run it for a little bit, I think it'll loosen up a little bit. And I still have to get the intake. Intake will probably be over there. I haven't ordered it yet, but they have an intake that I think will actually work pretty perfect with this weird little radiator hose right here. So I'll show you. Oh, let's just go. I'll show you the. So this is the fuse box. I just put it right here. I don't really have a whole lot of options at the moment for placement. That's just fine. That's not in my way of seating. I'm going to take this wire right here, maybe just kind of, you know, maybe push it up against there just so it looks more neat, not just hanging right there. And then if you go across like this, which I showed in another video, so my ECU is right there. I gotta figure out a way to mount it, or a way that I can kind of maybe put it behind the carpet, so if I ever have a passenger, or I could just kind of build some sort of box right there too, I suppose. So that's about the best area to have that right there. And then I have my fuel pump wire that just runs just back here, and then it goes in the back. So yeah, I mean, as of right now, it'll start and run just fine. You can rev it up. I haven't done that yet because it's really loud with the open headers. So my next plan of attack would be here. I'll show you on the other side here. I do have the GT exhaust on. Not sure if you can see. I had to cut the bumper because this is not a GT bumper. Its cuts are pretty bad. I mean, they're not perfect. I just kind of, made it cut out so I can put the exhaust in there. This one's really bad because it's really hard. I had to hold up the front of the exhaust and then try and mount it, and I couldn't figure out where it was landing. Whatever. It looks really bad, but like I said, I'll be getting a GT bumper eventually. So, and then for the exhaust, let me turn on this flashlight here. There we go. It's looking like it pretty much comes to about this point right here. Both of the exhausts. So you go like that, and then let's see, where's the pop out at? Right there. So exhaust will come down. It'll come down straight, do a 90, and then it'll pretty much will run right beside here, and that's gonna have to do a little, like a really small S, and then can meet up to this exhaust here. So I'll have to, I ordered a mount kit for a GT into a V6, and the rear portion worked just fine. But then when I tried to put the front portion in, it just the mounts don't line up. It's kind of weird. It's a GT exhaust and a GT mount kit for the exhaust, but the spots where you mount it on the car, they're in like a totally wrong area. So I haven't done an update video in a while. It has been a while. I've done a lot. I've got the starter relay all in. I've got the fuse box all mounted. I've got pretty much every wire that I need ran through here. I have the linkage all hooked up. It's not the best, but it works. This is my starter button here. If I hear it click on there, or have to turn the motor over. And then I do have the hood back on it too. Show you that. I also got these old wheels off my TL, my Acura. Hood drop. Oh, there we go. Alright, so that's it. I got a intake, just like off of eBay, just like a cheap, eBay one. But the filter doesn't quite go on there because it's just too tight, clearances and whatnot. And then I couldn't use that Honda radiator. I had to put the old V6 one back in there because it just wasn't enough surface area for it to cool. It was a three core radiator, but it was just too much, too much coolant in one area, if that makes any sense. Like it just didn't flow enough air through it. So I think the bigger surface area really helped a lot. And then there's still some wiring mess here, but also too when I had the ECU reflash, I apparently didn't tell them to put the fan relay in for the ECU. So in order to have a fan, I'm gonna put a toggle switch in, or I might when I turbo it, the turbo's gonna go right here. So I need to get this pipe here ran tighter. I want to run it like right about here and then go up just so it's tighter to the body, because the exhaust will be coming through here. They'll probably run underneath the crank pulley here, and then both of them will collect and come up, and the turbo will probably sit right here. I'm probably gonna have to move this battery, but yeah. So this is just a relay for the fans. But do that, and then I might run a what's it called? Like its own unit that I can weld into this pipe for the coolant, like a coolant sensor, just so that I don't have to get that. Well, actually, no. I might actually, when I get the ECU tuned, or if I get like a base tune, or if I have somebody tune this for me once I turbo it, I could have them fix the ECU so that it'll send a signal to the the relay so that I don't have to have it on a switch or anything. This is actually that wire that goes to the ECU. I just tucked it in here just so that wasn't like a bare wire. So I found that out when I was driving it. I was sitting at a stop sign and I was getting a little warm, but yeah, so I got it all back together, and the hood's on it. It's cut out kind of shittily, but it works. And yeah, I mean, it all runs and drives. Yeah, put these rims on it. They're fine. They're kind of bent and they wobble pretty bad. I need to figure out what I want to do for a steering rack still. It's fine. I would like to put in a manual rack or put the power steering pump in it. One of the two. It really does suck. It puts a lot of feedback in the steering wheel. And then these coilovers that I got when I had to do the tubular key member, these coilovers are definitely cheap ass coilovers. So I would like to. I might be getting a parts. Mustang, a GT, and I might take the front springs and shocks out of that, and I might try to. On this key member, you have to run coilovers. There's no spot for the springs, so I'm thinking about taking the top portion with like a spring perch. I want to say it's called that. I want to take that. I want to weld that onto this key member so I can just run just the stock springs and shocks, because these coilovers are just garbage. They are so freaking bouncy and really scary at high speeds on big bumps. Sorry, my wife is looking at me. And what was I saying now? Yeah, lots of bumps and whatnot. Quite frightening. The wheels like to hop and skip and do lots of weird stuff, but you do that, you do tire rods. I'm probably just going to rebuild the whole front end, and then need tires still. I need to figure out the linkage. I'm not sure if I should put in a aftermarket shift setup, or if I want to just have like a it's a 4L60E, so it's electronically controlled shifting, so I can just put switches in. And I'm not really sure how it's going to be when it's turboed, if the train will even hold up. Hopefully it does. I mean, it's probably not going to, but I'm just going to say hopefully it does. And I'm thinking if I just put switches in for each gear, it should have full line pressure. So it should, because I mean, let's see how can I put this. You know, the more you basically step on the pedal, the ECU sends different power to the solenoids. Maybe, or I'm not 100% sure. Basically what I looked up is that when you put in the manual switches 4 per gear, it just basically makes the line pressure max always. There is no, basically easy shift. It's just full line pressure, maximum hold. So hopefully that will help. Maybe I don't know. So yeah, I'm just kind of hoping. I would put a 4L80 in here, but I don't want to have to put in a custom drive shaft. So that was a lot of talking, sorry. But all right, I mean, yeah. Hopefully I can post some videos here soon of doing some fun burnouts and whatnot. And I guess I could start it, I suppose. Sure, I'll start it. Key here. Oops, I have to. Yeah, that's neutral. Sorry, this thing is pretty dang janky. I can't actually put it in park. It won't go far enough forward to put it in park, and yeah, I have to. That's why I mentioned that I might have to get an aftermarket shifter, just because this shifter is just, I don't know. It was pretty hard to adapt it to the 4L60, so I had to just put it in neutral for it to sit here. So. That's just a DT exhaust that I bought for it. There's definitely some exhaust leaks too. I guess I can do a little rev, I suppose.
and then that is true duals. There's no cross member, or not cross member. There's no like X pipe or like an H pipe that crosses over the two, so that would have been too hard. So it's just the little shorty headers here from a Camaro, and then just exhaust that I made, and then it has a thing. There you go. That's just good. So yeah. So I'm gonna go inside now. All right. Thanks for watching.